All right, good morning. So I chose to do the planet Venus because I thought it was the most interesting of them just because of the crazy weather. But instead of telling you just about the crazy weather, I decided to make it like a tourist destination just to make it a bit more fun. So I have some basic facts here at the bottom, it being the second planet from the sun. That's probably the most basic fact about it. Um, it's a tad warmer just because it is a little bit closer to the sun. And Venus is nearly the same size as Earth, and it's often referred to as Earth's twin. And we like to see that as something, or it's a reason why you don't have to worry about homesickness. Uh, I'm also calling it a feminist icon of planets because all the surface features, like craters and mountains, are named after females, which I think is really interesting because in space we don't often see a lot of female representation. In fact, I think there's the first all female spacewalk happening. I don't know if it happened or if it's happening right now, but I heard something about it. Really cool stuff. So let's get right into the atmosphere. All right, so the first point I like to make is that we have toasty temperatures. A lot of people, when they are looking for a vacation away from Canada, they want it to be a bit warmer just because, we deal with a lot of cold right now and it's nice to go somewhere tropical. So the average surface temperature on Venus is 737 degrees Kelvin, and that's quite a bit more than the average 288 degrees on Earth. We're under quite a bit of pressure here. The atmospheric pressure is about 92 atmospheres, which is what it's like to be under almost a kilometer of water. So when you come back from Venus and you're talking to your friends, you could brag about what it's like to be under a kilometer of water. You might look a bit like a pancake afterwards, but it's proof of the journey that you went on. All right, so now we have cloudy with a chance of fun. I love looking at a beautiful sunset with lots of clouds. So for the clouds to be extra unique would be really neat to see. And here they're actually made out of sulfuric acid and they are 35 kilometers thick. So if you really like clouds like I do, Venus is the place for you. Finally, dancing in the rain. What's more liberating than dancing in the rain? It rains sulfuric acid on Venus, so as long as you put on the proper suit, you can dance away. One thing that's special about Venus is the greenhouse effect, and it's something that you hear a lot about here on Earth. And it's actually the effect that happens when infrared radiation is trapped by the atmosphere. So, because our clouds are so thick, we actually trap quite a lot of heat. And let's hope that doesn't happen to Earth. All right, so the next important part of Venus is the surface and the geology and the geography and everything. And the most interesting part that I found about it, and there are a lot of tourist destinations that focus on volcanoes. Venus has a lot of volcanoes, and that's why its surface is very new. It was estimated that there was a huge volcanic event that occurred about 500 million years ago that sort of repaved the whole surface because all of the lava flowing everywhere made it a bit smoother. So it's like all the roads got paved right at once, which is super convenient for driving. All right, so the interior Venus is fairly straightforward. There's not really a magnetic field, and it's not really tectonically active, but you have your core, your mantle, and your crust. The thing that I find most interesting about Venus and its volcanoes is the idea that the planet could be a supervolcano itself. So, if you're not sure what a supervolcano is, it is basically a massive, it's a supervolcano. So you might have heard of the Yellowstone supervolcano. Now, this isn't a project on Yellowstone, but there's a lot of theories as to what would happen when the volcano would erupt, and it's really interesting and a little bit scary if you want to check that out. All right, so finally, we have some last little facts about the planet, how it shines the brightest in the night sky, just because it is so close and it does reflect a huge portion of light. And that's called the albedo. And that's just because of the clouds. It can really show off the light. It's really bright, it's really close to Earth. Uh, us as humans, we've really been able to observe Venus through different spacecrafts. Like in the US, they had their Pioneer Venus spacecraft and the Magellan mission, which really it mapped a lot of Venus, as well as the Soviet Union sending its Venera missions down to the surface so they could actually take measurements and stuff. All right, and the last really important thing about Venus that makes it really unique is the fact that it's spinning backwards. So this is called retrograde rotation. And it was theorized that this happened because another massive body like hit Venus and it sort of spun the other way. The other thing that's really neat about Venus is that a day is longer than a year. So one day on Venus, for one, you'd see the sun rise in the west and set in the east, but it's 243 Earth days. So if you're ever pressed for time on Earth, you've got more time on Venus. All right, and then so finally, we have sources. If you want to look at any of my sources, do your extra research, as well as there are a few links in the website that you can click on. All right, so I hope you are interested in visiting Venus because I think it's really unique. Everything about it just seems so striking to me, and it's kind of it's intimidating, right? But who travels for comfort? It's to learn more. All right, so see you later.